welcome to this video regarding the process of refilling. A refill is a procedure where you replenish your nail product, restoring its freshness and making it look new once more. You can do a refill on all hard gels, meaning the gel products that you use to strengthen or extend with. You can't actually do a fill-on gel polish color that's directly on the natural nail. But the reason why you get a fill is obviously because you want to get rid of these ugly outgrowths, and especially to fix the areas where the product may have come off, where it's no longer adhered to the nail. But you also perform a fill to restore the shape of the nail. As the natural nails grow, the shape of the artificial nail will grow out along with the natural nail. It creates an imbalance in the strength points of the nail, which puts an unnatural strain on the natural nail. So in a refill, the old power points are moved, among other things, also known as apex, back on the nail, and you make sure to restore the balance of the nail. That's also why some people call a follow-up a rebalancing. In general, it's really just important for a nice and durable result that you're careful to follow our instructions and make an effort to perform all steps correctly. And if you ever get in doubt about something or need guidance, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Have a blast. When we need to get a refill, we have to begin by reducing the thickness of the product you already have on by approximately. You should do that because while you have had the product on, the nail has grown out and moved the apex, which is the strength point of the nail, this arch. The nail has moved it outwards from its original position, resulting in a shift that needs to be addressed. That's why we must remove part of the product, apply a new product, and reposition the apex and strength point of the nail. So the first thing we do is to reduce the thickness, and there are different ways to do that. You can either use a manual nail file. Here I have a file from the gel collection, Grid 100, 180, where you can use either the 100 side or the 180 side. It depends on your preference and the thickness of the product you have on. Another option, which I personally prefer, is to use an electric nail file instead. There you can use different types of bits. If you have our bit kit essential, which we of course always recommend, then you can use some different bits, for example ceramic bits. Typically we suggest using red or blue for this kind of tasks. Alternatively, you have the option to utilize our sand rollers, and they look like this. In Bit Kit Essentials, Grid 100, 180 and 320 included. I use Grid 180 when removing 20 plus of the product. I'll put it on mandrel. Alrighty then. And what I do with my electric nail file is essentially just glide my nail file over the product until I have completely eliminated approximately all of the excess material. I also make use of our dust collector for that purpose, in order to ensure that dust does not enter the room and that you do not inhale any dust particles while filing. You can now see on my nail that I've removed about 50 to 80% of the product. We can move to the next step. After we have decreased the thickness of the previous item, we need to ensure that we eliminate any elevation that should have taken place while we have had this item on our possession. It's extremely important to remove all gel polish before doing a fill, because greenie can occur and fungus can occur if bacteria gets trapped between the gel polish that's applied on the natural nails and the product. So it's really important that we remove all the lift before we move on to the next step. The method for removing gel polish involves using a nail file, either a manual nail file or an electric nail file, to file directly behind the gel polish and gradually remove it. When you've almost reached the bottom and have filed the lift away, you'll experience that the lift actually just flies off on its own because you've actually filed the area thin where the lift is still attached to the product. We recommend that you use a nail file with grit 320 because it's so fine that if you accidentally hit your own natural nail, you won't cause any damage. I do quite appreciate utilizing our electric nail file. and it is generally a much faster option for completing the job efficiently. I've put a sanding roller on here, also with grid 320, and all you have to do is set your electric nail file to very low speed, so you don't damage your natural nail if you happen to hit it. But what I'm actually going to do in a little while is take my electric nail file on low speed and file right behind the cuticle area. And as soon as I'm nearly down and have taken away the lift, you will have the experience of the product flying off on its own, because it is no longer adhering to anything. I'll use my dust collector for that too, so that dust doesn't get into the room, and I don't breathe in dust or get dust all over the furniture for that matter. I have now had all of the gel removed that I previously had around the cuticle in this particular area. When filing your nails, it's important to always keep an eye on how far down you've gotten in relation to the natural nail. Of course, you must not file your natural nails with a manual file or with an electric nail file, so always keep an eye on the distance you have traveled, so you do not end up causing harm to your own natural nails. But now I have removed all the product that is left, and I can move on to the next step, you know. Now that we have decreased the thickness of the previous item and eliminated all the uplift, we need to commence the preparation process once more. So what you do is you go into the theory book, then you find the section that's about prep, a section explaining prep in theory, and our step-by-step guide. That's all the information you need about this prep. Of course, you can also watch our video guide on prep, which also shows you how to do it step by step. So I have now prepared my natural nail, and what we need to do at this point is to proceed with the fill application. The process of filling is done in exactly the same manner as when you reinforce your own natural nail. So you basically go to your theory book and dive into the step-by-step guides to find either reinforcement with polygel or reinforcement with builder gel, depending on which product you prefer to use. So go to the section about reinforcement, and then you'll see exactly how to fill in your nail.